Okay, time for another state of the property walkthrough. So this is not um, a publicly facing one. We've been doing a little, or trying to do a little bit more polished, trying to do a little bit more polished, but this is now just me walking around. Giving a status update on everything and really trying to get people involved here. So I'm just going to walk around and talk about the different states of the different projects that we have, with the idea that there may be something in here that you're looking at and you're like, oh, I could go and do that. I got a couple of hours this afternoon. So plenty to do. I'll walk around. Some of the stuff we can do right away. Other stuff is going to need to wait. Um, so this area around here uh, is going to be where we're going to plant our ground cover. Never mind those two stakes there. Uh, we're going to be trees there, but we're just going to keep these two trees, and that'll be fine. So this stuff, the ECM here, the wood chips, is going to need to get spread out in this area. We need to haul a bunch more over, but in the short term, this is where we had to dig everything up to run the power up here. These are new conduits and everything that have been installed. So this could do with a little bit of a rake out and just pick up some of the sticks here and kind of prep it. It was like not all the way filled in. Maybe we can kind of shove some dirt over in there, but that'll all come good. Um, Across over this way, we did kind of clean it up a little bit, um, but there's always going to be sticks lying around um, that need to get cleaned up. And we do have a couple of burn piles going on that we can go and look at now. One more thing that maybe needs to get done if somebody's got some time is this little spot right here in the corner of the driveway uh, is really sinking down. And if somebody wanted to get a wheelbarrow full of this stone, um, it is up over there, kind of beyond the shed, um, and get a wheelbarrow full of stone and dump it in there. Probably going to take a couple wheelbarrows, but that would be a good start. Um, so let's go over here. This is where in the landscaping there's going to be a white oak that we're going to have to put in there. These are going to be pretty big things. I didn't realize how heavy they were, but apparently with the root ball and everything, I just talked to the lady at O'Donnell's today, and they're going to be like 400 pounds a piece. So yeah, that weekend in the middle of May, what is it, the 15th and 16th? It would be great if everybody could kind of block that off on their calendar, assuming we're not in any, national championship games, and then we can really bang some of this stuff out. So this area in here is crazy, like how much we have pulled out of here. There's been 3 huge burns that have gone on with just all of the dead wood that was just in this area, and the bittersweet and whatnot. Super psyched. Joe Mig has done a bunch of just cutting up the ground fall in here. Jeff Pop has been hauling stuff out. The women's plus team did did a whole big burn where they dragged a bunch of stuff out and burned it. And there's still more. So I think we won't go, like you can see that all of these trees kind of died when they did the pond back in the 1950s, and I don't think we're not going to get back in there. They're all just kind of part of the effect, but we should probably get these out of here if we can. I don't know, that root ball is just massive. So I'm not sure we'll get that out of there, but at least these trees we can kind of, and then this big dead one should probably come down. Um, Maybe even this tree right here is like kind of a scruffy pine tree. Um, and then if we got that out of the way, then I could get the backhoe down in and we could drag um, some of these logs out of there. But this is the burn pile up here. And all along here, you see like we haven't really gotten into these sticks and whatnot, but like just get this stuff kind of roughly up out of there over into here's the burn pile. We didn't quite get it finished yesterday, but that one burned way down. I've got a couple of root balls here that I'll come and boost over. I think they're going to be two, unless there was 3 or 4 strong people. I think that's going to need some mechanical advantage. Uh, so all along this stretch of, um, kind of I've knocked down the ECM berm a little bit here, is what this wood chip kind of stuff is. And then you've got the drainage uh, swale down through here. And we're going to have plantings all along here. Stevie is going to get some blueberries for us, and then we've got a bunch of other shrubs and stuff like native kind of shrubs and whatnot that'll go in along here. And we've decided that we're going to need to water the ground cover stuff and this tree and the plantings that we're putting in here. So this blue flag is where we're going to put a hose faucet. Um, and Marco came yesterday with a ditch witch and and opened up this trench here that makes its way up to the shed, which is where the water is coming from. There's the pipe there. I know that he and Jeff Pop are planning on coming on Friday, tomorrow, to get that done. What is it? I think that's the 10th? No, yes, April 10th. Yep, that they'll be here. So we've got to get that all cleaned up. Um, I don't know if like when Willie DeVoe came through here with the bush hog, he cut off all of the bittersweet, but it's still all like hung up in this tree, uh, which I think is like some kind of old cherry tree or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see what it comes in as, but um, yeah, just like all of this bittersweet, the dead vines, we could just kind of pull them down. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but that would be cool. Uh, so all along here, more wood to get into the burn piles. And yeah, so when we get down to the pond is when we really start to, this is going to be like a walking path. It's going to go from here and then all the way down there. In the middle here is all just grows up over the summer with the wild raspberries. But this actual grassy stretch here and down to the pond will keep mowed. It is grass. I know Jeff Pop did a pretty good job yesterday coming through here, picking up stuff. This is our other burn pile. It's still kind of smoldering up there a little bit when we had the party after the championships. That was the bonfire that we had. And there's a ton of just endless wood that has grown up over the last 100 years or so through here. Some of it's been cut down, but it all it's so much better than it was. Like it was crazy before. So we've already done a ton, and we're getting most of the way there. But here, and then you can see all the way across on the other side as well. There was there was some cutting that went on over there, but all of that stuff needs to get kind of dragged out and brought over uh, for the burn pile. Okay. Um, Here's the stone that you could get a couple of buckets, wheelbarrows. The wheelbarrow is in the garage. It's blue. It has two wheels. It's really fancy. Or put it in the back of your pickup truck or whatever for the end of the driveway. Um, Here is this upper burn pile. We've also been using this as when we dig up extra dirt from places, we've been bringing it here to just kind of extend this platform a little bit. Um, so here, this thing is the stump from the tree that used to be right up there. And it's like packed with dirt and all around it. And I kind of picked away at it a little bit yesterday, but it's survived two giant bonfires now, mostly because there's all dirt like packed around it. And so if somebody wants to come and just pick away at it with the shovel and just clear off the dirt, then hopefully it will not survive the next big burn. This area in here was not hydro seeded, um, and Diesel Marco has put some seed down, which actually may be kind of coming up. We've seeded it a couple times, but and we put what hay that we had down on it, but it looks like we could use some more hay. So if somebody wanted to go, you can get it in a variety of different places. A few hay bales, spread it over here behind the shed, um, and then up over here, uh, like in the spots that don't have hay, just to kind of protect it and hopefully let it grow in and just kind of stay off of this area as much as we can until this grass gets established. Unfortunately, to get to so this is where Marco's poly pipe comes in. It's going to come in under there somehow. We haven't quite figured out how we're going to wire it in, but in the shed right now to kind of hook up the hose if you need it. It gets hooked up right there. Here's the well equipment. Um, I came in yesterday and it was sort of bouncing back and forth a little bit. It's better now because I put these little square things on, which aren't that cool. I didn't have my speed square, so I couldn't. I wanted to put sort of angled ones, but I think that what needs to happen is up in the top here, um, we just get some L brackets and like metal self-tapping screws, and just attach the top of this thing in a few places along the top to that, and then that should make it pretty bulletproof, I think. And then, yeah, a little bit of kind of cleanup in here. There's still the detritus from when we threw the thing up last fall that needs to get dealt with. The garage itself, um, I know Joe Loring did an awesome job cleaning up around the house, uh, but we could do a little bit of a pass through here. Um, Not too bad, but stuff for the burn pile there. Uh, a lot of this can go. So we're putting wood and whatnot inside of the house. So these are like those hemlock timbers. I'll show you where those go inside the house. Um, this thing, or these two things here. So don't throw those two things away. That's like my my scuff surveyor tool for mapping out level ground over long distances. So all of this stuff and this Like we can cut the heads off of uh, our goalpost things. Um, maybe bring the swamp buggy up over there. But all of this wood, not the pallets. I don't know what we're going to do with the pallets. Probably just burn them. Um, but those, like all of the wood and everything, can go just inside here. So just inside the house, in this little shed, you go in the door over there. It's locked right now, but yeah, I can. I will. I'll tell you how to get in. Just let me know. Okay, so that is around the house. Needs to get kind of cleaned up. Um, and yeah, again, the house is currently being used for storing like construction materials. There's a bunch of pipe, and you'll kind of see where the different stuff is. There's conduit, there's PVC pipe, there's lumber of various sorts. So if you're moving stuff in there, just get it to the right place. Okay, so this is another big job for this summer here. This is the so-called ramp, which goes from, I guess, the end of the driveway, beginning of the parking lot, and goes down to the field. Uh, and as you can see, it gets kind of muddy. It it just never got finished when the field got put together, and so we need to do something with it. Like a bunch of water like runs down here, and it's kind of gotten blown out. It's washed a bunch of sediment down on top of the field drip line filter, which is the where all of the water on this half of the field drains into this stone trench with a pipe at the bottom of it that runs all the way along and takes all the water and dumps it out onto the north slope. So we need to really complete this thing in here. And what that looks like, I'm not sure yet, but we need to kind of do some exploration. So dig up, in particular, like this part um, down in here, and just see kind of, is there stone down there? I know the pipe runs all the way from like the clean out standpipe there all the way to the end. So there's a pipe under there, but how much of the substrate? I'm pretty sure like the filtration substrate and everything is still there. We just need some stone kind of added in. We're going to get that delivered. Oh, this is topsoil, and it's going to be useful for doing stuff like filling in these things. Oh, all right. But before I get sidetracked, let me finish with the ramp first. Um, so, we've got to have to like get this sorted out first. Like, what do we want to do? Like, there's a bit of stone there, but we're going to get some stone delivered, and we're going to get some roadbed material delivered as well. And so the idea is like we've got kind of, some sides that we can kind of build up. So what I'm thinking is that we put pipes, so we put trenches down either side where we put like a French drain system in. And then down the middle, once we get it kind of approximately level, scoop out some of the nasty stuff from down here and from up in the middle. Um, we'll put down this geotextile fabric that's pretty rugged, and it'll stop everything from kind of sinking in. And then we'll have one of our contracting friends come and deliver some crusher run, or some material like is on that little spur of the driveway that goes up to the garage, that kind of stuff. And then there's going to be a bunch of packing it down. So I think on the day that we do that, or the days that we do it, we'll need to get a like a plate compactor, or a skid steer with tracks. And we can also kind of drive the backhoe around. But what it is, you want to get it compacted all down on top of your geotextile sublayer, and then it becomes like really hard, like kind of concrete. And then if we have it so that the drains on either side are collecting the water, it should be a pretty stable way to kind of get, up and down onto the field if you need ambulances or so forth. Okay, so let's talk about the field for a second. And Marco is working on that. Um, but you'll notice that like there's some sections here where like we don't have a ton of grass coming up right away. It's starting to kind of emerge, but really just had like a month of growth in the fall, and so it's really going to start taking off here in the next couple of weeks. But um, we are going to do a couple of things. So the soil report, we got the soil report back where they do an analysis of the soil, and the pH level is good. We put a bunch of lime down last year, and but the nitrogen levels and the potassium, I can't remember what the exact thing is, but we need to get some fertilizer spread. So we're going to do that, get all of the soil chemistry into optimal ranges, and then we're going to overseed. Um, and so I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like. We're working with the guy that did the hydro seeding. We want to make sure that all of these blank areas, make sure that they've got some good seed on them. Though I suspect we already did overseed once, and so I suspect that they're really going to start filling in over the next few weeks. But we want to just get out. It's not going to hurt anything by overseeding the whole thing again. And we have 3 different types of seed that are going onto the field. So there is a fescue, which is what you see most of right now. But then we're also in that mix are a rye, I think a rye grass, which comes in really hot and heavy, like fills in really quickly. And then also a Kentucky bluegrass, which is pretty and also propagates really well. So if you start ending up with dry um, uh, bare spots for whatever reason, the Kentucky bluegrass is really good at spreading and will fill in those. Um, Here's the thing that people can do if you've got some time: get a rake and come down. So all of the like concrete work that we did for the for the goalposts, we put 10,000 pounds of concrete in, and there's little bits of concrete laying around where we were washing out. The cement mixer was over there. And so just come out with a rake and kind of scuff this up and try and get um, this a little bit kind of cleaned up. We also are going to have to get some of that loam from over at the bottom of the ramp and fill in around these boxes and make sure. You can see that it's got like rubber on it on these corners, but we want to make sure that like that is, underground or at least flush with the ground, so that there's not any chance of anybody anybody doing any damage to themselves on that. So those have to get kind of filled in both here and up there. Um, I know that Marco, and again, like talk to Marco about this. He's kind of the field master, but you can see that he's already come and put some loam down around that irrigation head. Uh, and the idea is like we want those irrigation heads to be recessed into the ground a little bit, right? We don't want there to be, um, uh, things sticking up that people can bang their knees on or whatever. And so just going around and again, the loam from the bottom of the ramp in a wheelbarrow, going around, making sure, and I think that he's flagged some of them, that may need a little bit of help. Yeah, so this may be a little bit of dirt. And again, that thing pops up like 4 or 6 inches, and so it ideally should be recessed down into the ground like half an inch or something like that, so that it's not anything that we have issues with the with people banging their knees on it or whatnot. Looking ahead, these are these drainage ditches that we have over here, um, and they're going to be hard to mow. I think ultimately, like, we're going to need to get in there with a weed whacker um, a couple of times a year and just keep them down a little bit. Um, and yeah, like we can get kind of back behind here. I think ultimately, like, where we're going to end up going with our groundskeeping is Marco's got like a really big, cool lawnmower that's good for like the flat surfaces. And some of the hills, I know that he can do the spectator slope over there with it, but things like in here, he's not going to be able to do that. And so we're going to need to figure out how to get in here with a push mower. We'll have lots of push mowers around. And so as we start getting in, I mean, not that long now, right? Another month or so, and we'll be uh, needing to to get down here with lawnmowers and whatnot, and just try and keep the grass down a little bit. We want to, there's going to be ticks around, and the more that we can kind of keep it, mowed and the grass kind of under control, then the better off we're going to be. So this area here, like right at midfield, okay, so that, see that orange, um, there's what, 10 of these things on the field, right? It's a Steve Martin, S.J. Martin. So these are exact. This is exactly midfield right here, and it's a rebar, uh, piece of rebar with a cap on it that marks exactly where midfield is going to be. So it's exactly 50 meters from here to another one that's down there in the try area, the in goal area, and then the dead ball line is beyond that. So there is a midfield mark, a goal line mark, and a dead ball line mark on both sides that we want to be using if we're lining the fields, which is going to be happening uh, this this summer. Okay, so yeah, we talked about getting over here and cutting the grass. Um, yeah, like here's a head right here that you can see is sticking up a little bit, and um, we just need to get over here with some loam and kind of build up around it, and it'll be something that we'll have to maintain um, moving forward. The field is really nice and soft, and we just need a few months of really solid growth, and we're going to have a really cool, like, we get that whole root mesh matrix built up inside of the root zone, so you got 8-10 inches of just a dense root mass. This is going to be like, yeah, playing on it's going to be really amazing. So I'm up at the north goalposts now, and you can see that there's like, when it was January and it was freezing cold, and we were trying to put the cement pilings in, or the piers in. We didn't do a awesome job. And so if somebody wants to get out with a rake and just try and clean some of this stuff up, I know that Diesel and Jeff Pop came out and took a first whack at it, but we want to make sure that this area is pretty nice through here. And again, we're going to have to fill in there with some loam and some seed. Uh, so I was talking to Jerry Alvis, and he's talking about doing a scoreboard. So eventually, this is going to be the scoreboard slope up here in the northwest corner. And we're not going to do like a big electronic scoreboard right off the bat. That's sort of future plans, but this is kind of the area that we're thinking that it would go. And he is talking about doing just a manual, board kind of mounted up in there with just the hooks and plates, and send some kids over to kind of do the score. So if you're interested in that project, get a hold of Jerry, and yeah, that will be cool. I'm kind of looking at the like the edge of this ECM berm that goes all the way around, and it's kind of like knocked in a little bit. Interesting. Over the winter, like the freeze thaw stuff has done, I guess, done its work. There is one, this one in particular. Look at this. This guy's sticking way up. He needs a little, and that's the worst one actually on the whole field. But I'm on the north end. We do have one zone, one sideline zone, I think is right here, number 29, this one, that the valve needs a little bit of adjusting. Marco and I were here yesterday looking inside of here, inside of number 29, and that's going to need a little bit of attention, but check with Marco on that one. So the north slope is, I loved running up and down hills when I was training for rugby way back in the day, and I'm really hoping that this is going to be a nice solid training hill that that the back row can get fit by running up and down this thing. It does. It's not something that we can do with Marco's mower, but he and I got the 2 push mowers out, and I think there's maybe a couple more push mowers getting donated. But he and I knocked it out in an hour or so. So you just kind of stay on the contour lines and go kind of back and forth on down, and it's not too bad. The swamp is actually looking really good. I went down in there, and it of course filled up. The whole wetlands area filled up with knee-deep water. That's since receded, but all of the hay and the seed mixture that we put down after we did the remediation day, it's actually starting to come in. So that is cool. Here's the where the water comes out from the field drip line filter. So the water all from that half of the field drains down into this thing, and then the pipe goes underground and comes out there, and it's a big dramatic jet that comes out a couple of hours after it starts raining really hard. So one thing that I forgot to mention when I was over by the parking lot is there's 2 of these things around, and they are hooked up to the water system. There's a little swing valve in there, but we want to make watering fountains and like a hose faucet here. So we need to, at some point this summer, figure out how to get a decent like watering fountain setup. And then we ran some electrical conduit down here as well. There's a whole, like obviously for practice, if we want to run around on here for practice in the fall, once you get into September and things start getting late after work, getting dark, we're going to need lights here. So we do have some conduits that come down from up there, and we're still figuring out temporary lighting. But Jim Shiminsky is working on that. So get a hold of Jimmy if you have some ideas. But we're thinking just kind of temporary light towers with LEDs on them that we can even just drag out on the field and uh, and allow us to use the field in the dark. We are going to do lights, and hopefully next winter, when the ground gets frozen, we have to bring some pretty giant machinery in to make that happen. And so we'll wait for the ground to freeze next winter and do that. But those big 70-foot light towers will will be two on this side, like here and down by the ramp, and then down by the retaining wall, and here by the property line. Um, and so those will be next year. But for this year, we're going to need some temporary lighting. And then I think once we have the real lighting in here, then we'll take the temporary lighting up to the practice pitch. Okay. Uh, so we talked about the watering fountains or the water fountains to get a drink. Oh, this thing here, uh, somebody can come and do this. Uh, so this is the two shutoffs for the two wells where they come and join and head out to the irrigation uh, system. But this was a shutoff valve, or not a shutoff, a drain valve that I put in here last winter just to drain the line coming down from the log cabin well to here. I have the box for it, um, and there's landscape fabric down in there, but it was cold and I didn't get that done. But if somebody wants to come and just there's this little wood thing because it's not tall enough, but that will sit on top of that and put that down in there. You're gonna have to dig everything out again. It's kind of schlumped down in, but that would be good to get that one set right there so that we can access that little hose spigot in there for draining it in next fall. So lots of wood debris here that can get just hauled up. Even if you just got like an hour or two, uh, just come and get some of the dead wood from down in here and drag it up to the burn pile. This has been working pretty well through here. Uh, Dan Joyce was out and did a nice job getting this going. We kind of just sort of scuffed all the dirt out with the corner of the backhoe blade. And it's all, I mean, I guess eventually it'll kind of lie down, but we could potentially like rake it out and make it into you know, a little, a little sort of a berm or something like that. Because this channel, um, it looks like it's getting enough wear and tear on it that eventually we'll want to put some kind of a French drain pipe in here because a lot of water kind of comes down from all of this wetlands up here. So it doesn't all just come out of the pond and down. It's actually like coming all infiltrating in. and we really want to make sure that it makes it down there. It's going to go down there. One thing that we've learned about water is like you're not going to keep it from getting to where it wants to go, but you can offer suggestions on the directions that it takes. And so this seems to be working pretty well, but you can like see that it wasn't wet up there, but now here it's actually kind of wet because a lot of water comes and gets down into it. And it seems like everything's holding up pretty well. Um, One item, and so this is where that water all ends up, is coming down here. We've got a hay bale down to kind of knock out the sediment that comes through, and then the water itself goes down into our salamander culvert here, and then comes out on the other side. So here's another job that people can do. Is the water comes out here and then makes its way down over to the vernal pool, but it's cut a pretty big channel down through here, and I put a bit more like ECM that I just stole from around in here just for the inspectors to kind of see. But there's one spot here and one spot down there um, that we could really do with a couple of wheelbarrows of ECM um, to build that back up again. Because what happens is the water runs through that and uh, and it pulls all of the sediment out theoretically, or the larger sediment, um, and that goes to the vernal pool. Okay, so we're coming up the path here to the practice pitch, and this is going to be, I think, the last thing that gets completed this year. The big things that really need to happen is, number one, the landscaping needs to happen. Number two, the paving of the parking lot and the driveway needs to happen. And then number three, the practice pitch with a one of those big ditches that we saw on the far sideline, the so-called under-drain soil filter. We'll have one of those stretching over there. So we have woods are going to be coming in and getting going on this. And there's a few things. Oh, I had people driving around in here. Hopefully that's just people from woods coming in and doing that, because it is super soft. As you can see, I'm sinking here. But one of the things that we're going to need to do is to get this wood out of here. And so maybe we're going to do another burn over here somewhere. And I guess it can just be anywhere, even just right there if we wanted to kind of pile some of this detritus up on there. But there's quite a bit of decent wood in here. Like a lot of this is like hardwood. Some of it's pine, but I think that, where I'm going with this is we're going to need to have fires, right? Like, we're hanging out drinking beers after the match in October. It would be nice to have a fire pit with fire going on. And so this wood, we can just bring it all over here. I've got a couple more logs out here. But this is all going to be, this area in here is going to be part of the practice pitch. So we need to get this wood out of here and do something with it. And what I'm thinking is bring it over to here, and then people with axes and uh, wedges and whatnot that like to split wood can come over here, and we'll just create a big bunch of firewood and bring it over and like stack it over behind uh, the garage. Okay, the log cabin. Um, I don't know. Do we even want to go in there? Uh, we need to kind of get it sorted out. Like the vision is that we're going to have a workshop in here. We have a ton of stuff for a workshop that's kind of in there. And we just need to find the time to get in there and kind of sort it out and figure out what's going to go where. Probably need to have it secured because it's all just open right now. But yeah, uh, we've got wood and stuff like that that probably could get moved inside. Um, and yeah, the basement. This is actually this is a really wet area over there, and this time last year there was literally like waist deep water in the basement, and so Willie DeVoe did a awesome job. We should probably switch these pipes here, but and Stevie Gould as well. Willie DeVoe and Stevie Gould put a beautiful like whole